Hey everybody, this is Perch, and we are once again, we talked about this comic before. It's a giant 80-page all romance issue. Adventure Comics presents Supergirl, 25 cents. It's a hell of a time, back in 1970. And the first story reviewed is the time that Supergirl tried to get old Superman, her cousin, hooked up with another girl, and Superman was really kind of distraught that he couldn't just take old Supergirl to Pound Town, and so eventually he dated a girl that was a exact double of Supergirl, but unfortunately that romance did not work out. But speaking of things that didn't work out, this comic gives us a second story, and just to kind of prove how just batshit insane things were during this time period. We get this story, and this is one of those things that it comes up as a trivia question, and people always think there's some kind of trick, or it's one of those taken out of context things, but not. So Supergirl at one point had a horse that could fly, like all girls want, called Comet, and she would ride around on Comet and fly around. Now, why she needed to do that was a mystery, since she could just fly on her own. But sometimes a girl just wants to ride a horse. So anyway, so Comet turned out to be more than just a horse, however. So this adventure basically comes in that this unknown enemy, and Superman's got to send Supergirl off to do it. And, Supergirl's worried about the horse going, but the powers are, possibly come from magic. And so she has to wear a spacesuit, which really is comprised of, kind of this invisible, plastic wrap and a bubble on her head. But anyway, so she flies off with Comet to go do all this. And when she gets there, there's a Pegasus that is in the picture that is that prevents him from flying. And because the Pegasus can't fly, then the ruler won't be able to do what he needs to do. And this is going to cause shenanigans on this planet. But thankfully, Supergirl shows up with the flying Comet horse and gives it to Prince Indoor. That allows him to still compete and everything, which foils this evil plan. So as this whole thing is going on, basically the magician, or the prince, who's also a magician, because why not? He thanks the horse and learns that the horse is actually a person who got turned into a horse. And then what happens is he's able to do the magic just a little bit at a time. So he changes the Comet to Super Horse, but he's going to be a centaur for a while first. And that he won't have, and it's only temporary, and it's only on Xerox. Yeah, this planet's called Xerox, by the way. And so the Comet, the Super Horse, is now a centaur. Are you confused yet? It's okay. Anyway, so he will have no superpowers during this. So he basically trots around as a centaur, and then finally gets himself to a human. He is given some clothes, which is nice. And meanwhile, Supergirl's hanging out at the palace and just having some drinks and having a good time. And this evil person who's trying to unseat the prince is trying to poison Supergirl by turning her into gold. So he just as Supergirl's about to drink this potion that will turn her into gold, she spills it all over kind of the evil wizard, and instead fucks him all up. So just at this moment, Supergirl so shocked that she turned a human being into gold. Keep in mind that the issue right before this one revealed that Supergirl was turning her boyfriends into stone when she was done with them. There was some trickery there, but anyway, Supergirl, there's a lot of information coming at you all over. So anyway, Supergirl is roused back by Comet in his human form, and he is turning back into a horse. So he's like, why did I turn back into a horse just as I was about to get with Supergirl? Now it's a good thing that he didn't progress further with Supergirl, because that would have been incredibly awkward. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying. So they get into some mythology about the comet-shaped mark on his back, which, by the way, isn't drawn into the comic. They fly back to Earth, and when they get to Earth, a comet appears through the sky, and he turns into a human again. So apparently the comet now triggers him being human for a period of time. He decides that the best thing to do is to get a job, knowing that it's temporary, but just he needs to get a job to keep from being conspicuous. So he decides immediately that a good idea is to become a rodeo horse rider. And as he's doing this, Supergirl is kind of, looking at it, kind of remembering certain aspects of kind of her relationship with Comet. She meets a horse that can spell, and then she finally catches the eye of Bronco Bill, who's actually her horse Comet in a human form. So she stops a rampaging bull, as what happens, and she immediately becomes attracted to Bronco Bill, and starts making out with him. So anyway, he doesn't tell her who he is, and she is like thinking, this strange person resembles that guy who saved my life back on Xerox, but it couldn't be the same man. He just chuckles to himself and makes out with her, which is no problem. So anyway, as he starts to his magic spell starts to wear off, he becomes a centaur again, and then he returns to a horse. He reunites with Supergirl, and the two of them basically become a team again. He keeps all this secret, and this would go on for actually quite some time, where he would, there would be this kind of secret identity business where he was hiding the fact that he was a horse. And for a while, she was hiding the fact that she was Supergirl because she was showing up in her other identity. So it was kind of this mistaken identity of Supergirl and a horse in a weird relationship. It's just, anyway. And then the horse gets jealous of Jarrow, who lives under the sea. There's so many things here to unpack. Of this unrequited love of a horse and everything that he's into. And the horse, basically a comet flying across the sky gets him turned back into his human form. He's able to make out for a while with Supergirl, and he would do this, and for whatever reason, he would always kind of ride horses, and they had this whole relationship going in his Bronco Bill identity, all the way to basically like she was ready to get to completely hook up with this guy. So anyway, it would go back and forth, and then Bronco Bill would kind of betray her to some extent, or at least she would think he was, that Bronco Bill, she accused him, and then he was not. Anyway, regardless. This was what was going on in comics back in the 70s. Yes, Supergirl did have this weird on-again, off-again relationship with her horse, who was tricking her the whole time into basically not realizing she was human. And then for a while, the horse would go and kind of have a relationship that was similar to Lois Lane. So that was also going on. Comics were trying to do romance, but they were doing it in the most awkward and weird way possible. Like you saw from the other video where Superman was weirdly attracted to Supergirl, and they thought the right solution was to get a twin of Supergirl for him to date and make out with, up to Supergirl having this very... it's like an episode of Friends, right? Where there's like one person is in love with the other, but they don't realize it, so there's all these awkward situations. That's kind of what it was like with Supergirl and her horse. But anyway, this went on for quite a while in comics, and it is canon. I mean, it's part of DC's history. Now they don't refer to it very often, and for whatever reason, who knows why? They just don't. They don't go back to the Supergirl and the horse storyline very often. But it was a thing for quite a while. Anyway, what do you think? So was this time just insane? Do you miss it? Is it what's your take on all this? And I mean, these weren't great comics. Make no mistake about it. But there was a wacky kind of innocence to this that I do appreciate, and I do wish could come back on some level, because it was I don't know, it's crazy stuff. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, of course, and thanks for listening.